Welcome to Skinner and, well, let's just call it the weekly roast from now on today, an attempt to make a fresh start. Ah, the old jingle. It sounds a bit shy now, doesn't it? We even lost our narrator for the podcast, as if it's forgotten how to be loud. It's been practicing in a quiet house. I suppose I can relate. But anyways, hello dear listeners. It's been a while. My name is Seymour Skinner, and this is still the weekly roast. The name remains, mostly, because a name holds a memory. And memories, I've learned, are stubborn things. So, to bring you to the same page, it has been 6 months, 183 days to be precise. 6 months since the incident on the hill. 6 months since the sky turned a bruised, terrible purple. 6 months since we lost our Gary, and our dear friends Anna and the Master Chief. 6 months of silence from this old garage. And before I say anything else, I must say thank you. To all of you. For everything. The comments, the casseroles, so many casseroles. I think every dish in Memefield has been in my kitchen at least twice. Sonic's seemingly endless supply of condolence chili dogs. Yuji's kind offer to jewel my grief directly into the shadow realm, which was a tempting, if metaphysically complex, proposition. Every card, every kind word, every neighbor who pretended not to notice as I talked to an empty passenger seat in the minivan, thank you. This town, this community, you have held a quiet space for a loud heartbreak. And for that, I am eternally grateful. So why now? Why today? Why sit in this chair, which feels cavernously empty beside me, and speak into this microphone? Because my friends, they insisted. They said that 6 months of quiet contemplation and experimental grief, baking was enough. They said it was time to start doing the things we used to love. They said that the best way to honor a memory is not to build a shrine to it, but to live in a way that makes that memory proud. And Gary, he would have complained, of course. He would have called this a needless broadcast of personal melancholy. But he would have been here. He would have sighed his wonderful, theatrical sigh, adjusted his spectacles, and made some dry, brilliant remark that would have put everything into perspective. So, this is an attempt to turn a page, not to close the book, never that, but to see what the next chapter might hold. This is an attempt to honor their memory by rediscovering the delightful, absurd spontaneity of life that Gary both secretly cherished and publicly grumbled about. And I am not doing it alone. I have reinforcements. 2 of my very dearest companions have agreed to join me today. Firstly, a young man of boundless optimism and a heart far kinder than his old father's, my son Alexander.
Hello, everyone. It's an honor to be here, Dad. I'll do my best to fill some very big shoes.
Oh, you have your own shoes, my boy, and they are already magnificent, and providing our much-needed dose of pure, unadulterated logic in this very illogical time, a friend who has been a rock of stability and data-driven comfort, the one and only Echo from Overwatch.
Greetings. My function today is to provide logistical support and to maintain the podcast's emotional equilibrium within acceptable parameters. Current analysis indicates a 78.4% probability of a successful, if emotionally turbulent, broadcast. I am optimized for the occasion.
Thank you, both of you. I truly couldn't do this without you. I'm an imposter. Gary would have approved of your combined presence. The perfect blend of heart and hardware. He always did appreciate a well-made machine.
He would have been proud of you for doing this, Dad.
I hope so. I truly do. So, in the spirit of carrying on, we shall endeavor to have a normal podcast. Or as normal as anything in this delightful, chaotic town can ever be. We'll catch up. We'll discuss the state of affairs in Memefield. And we might even manage a laugh or two. It's what he would have wanted. After he'd finished complaining about it, of course. Right then. Before we attempt to scale the great, glittering mountain of normalcy, there is one last piece of the past I feel we must address. A rather significant loose thread from that terrible day. My twin.
You mean Roboskinner, Dad?
The very same. I know many of you listeners must wonder what became of him after the portal closed. After everything. He is, as you know, still a resident of the Twitch Asylum, under Echo's and her team's very capable care. and I am pleased, I suppose, is the word to report that he is making genuine progress.
Affirmative. His psychological profile has shown significant improvement over the last 6 months. His chaotic emotional subroutines have diminished by 62%. There is a marked increase in adherence to his prescribed therapeutic protocols. His weekly reports show fewer instances of attempting to construct temporal paradoxes out of cafeteria spoons.
What does that mean in, normal people talk echo?
He is calmer. The grief is still the foundational element of his personality matrix, but it is no longer manifesting as weaponized chaos. It is now just grief.
Just grief. Yes, the terrible, brilliant drama of that day, watching the portal take them. It seems to have been a necessary, if brutal, catalyst, a system shock that forced a hard reboot of his entire being. He saw the end result of his magnificent, terrible plan, and it broke him. And in that breaking, something new is beginning to grow.
But is it hard, Dad, to, support him? After everything, he built the machine. He brought Rhombos into our lives again. He's the reason.
He's the reason Gary's gone. Yes, that is a fair question, my boy. A very fair and a very difficult question. And for a long time, the answer was immensely difficult. The anger I felt was seismic. It could have powered a small city for a decade.
So what changed about your feelings?
I grew tired. Blame is a heavy suitcase, Alexander, and my arms are already so very tired from carrying my own grief. I came to a point where I realized I simply don't have the strength to carry this anger, too. So I put it down, and when I did, I was able to see him more clearly.
You altered your perspective on the input data.
Precisely, Echo. I see him now not as the sole villain of the story, but perhaps as its first victim. Rhombos didn't create his pain, but it found it. It was a predator. It sensed that deep-aching, universe-sized grief for his lost Climmers, and it weaponized it. It turned his love into a battering ram to break down the doors of our reality. He thought he was the mastermind, the king, but he was just the key, the first tool that Rhombos used.
So, you forgave him, eventually.
Forgiveness is a word for things that are finished. And this is not finished. It is an ongoing process, a complicated understanding. I visit him every week, and we, just talk.
My surveillance logs of the visitor's room confirm these weekly sessions. Vitals for both subjects indicate a decrease in stress. Related indicators post-session. The interactions are, on the whole, mutually beneficial.
I think Echo has a point there. And what do you guys talk about? Just light, small talk about the weather or actually going deeper?
Oh, all sorts of things. The quality of the food at the asylum. His progress in his macrame class. The weather. Yes, small talk is involved. But mostly, we talk about them. We talk about Chalmers. Both of them. And I've realized we're in the same strange, terribly lonely boat. We are two men who have lost their loved one, an imposter. He is the only other person on this planet who understands the exact shape of the hole that's been left in my life. Because he has one just like it.
Shared trauma can be a powerful bonding agent. My analysis confirms that your weekly visits have a mutually stabilizing effect on both your emotional states.
It's a strange, quiet solace, a weird mirrored grief. We don't always have the words. Some weeks, we mostly just sit. We sit in a shared silence, two sides of the same cracked coin. And sometimes when the house is too quiet, that shared silence is enough. It helps.
Wow, I never thought of it like that, Dad. That's really brave of you.
Thank you, Alexander.
So, Dad, in the spirit of, getting back to what makes Memefield so wonderfully weird, I thought we could talk about something that happened a few months ago. Something I noticed during one of my visits. You were pretty preoccupied.
Was I? Oh, yes. I believe that was during my interpretive dance phase of grief management. The less said about that, the better. My hamstrings are still recovering.
Not exactly. It was the golem situation, or as I've heard some of the neighbors call it, The Great Golem Uprising of 23.
Uprising! Such a dramatic word. It wasn't an uprising at all. It was a peaceful industrial action, a work stoppage based on purely philosophical grounds.
My data confirms this. There were no instances of violence or property damage. The event is more accurately classified as a collective labor dispute, with metaphysical undertones.
See, it was a whole thing. I came over one afternoon, and the entire army of garden golems was just sitting, cross-legged on the lawn, in complete silence. They were having a sit-in process, it seemed.
They were meditating, I think, to find their inner bedrock. It was a profoundly moving sight. A dozen sentient rock golems, covered in moss and quiet dignity, refusing to so much as trim a hedge until their grievances were heard.
And their big grievance, their demand, it wasn't for more money, was it, Dad?
Good heavens, no. The Golem Union has a benefits package that is the envy of the supernatural world. No, their demands were far more profound. They came to me with Cogsworth as their stoic, gravelly, voiced union representative, and they handed me a single, chiseled stone tablet.
I have a transcript of the tablet's inscription. It reads, and I quote, "The act of weeding is a Sisyphean struggle devoid of lasting artistic merit. Our souls crave creation, not curation."
They were tired of just pulling weeds. They wanted more fulfilling gardening tasks.
Exactly. They felt their creative potential was being stifled. Cogsworth explained it to me in great, solemn detail. He said, and his voice sounded like two tectonic plates having a polite disagreement, "Principal Skinner, for years we have toiled in your soil. We have maintained your borders. We have vanquished the insidious dandelion. But we are not mere groundskeepers. We are artists. Our medium is the earth itself."
He said they wanted to be involved in the aesthetic arrangement of decorative gourds.
It was a watershed moment in interspecies labor relations. They felt their skills were being underutilized. They presented a portfolio. Balthazar the Boulder had done some truly breathtaking work with ornamental kale. Norman the Granite had a real eye for companion planting. They wanted to contribute to the overall visual narrative of the garden, not just the mundane, day-to-day drudgery of pest control.
A logical progression. The desire for self-actualization is a common trait among sentient beings, regardless of their elemental composition. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is surprisingly applicable to beings made of enchanted diorite.
So you had to negotiate with them over the artistic merits of squash.
It was the most intense negotiation of my life. We sat at the patio table for 3 days. Me together with old Bartholomew and his binders of horticultural theory, and Cogsworth with his unblinking, mossy stare. He was a rock in every sense of the word. He would not be moved. He kept insisting that the current arrangement of the petunias was thematically inconsistent with the emotional journey of the autumn season.
And you actually argued back.
Of course, I had a vision. I argued for the classical, orderly beauty of a well-maintained English garden. He argued for a more free-form, expressionistic approach. At one point, he accused my rose bushes of being derivative. I was deeply offended. I may have called his proposal for a Zen garden of existential despair a bit on the nose. Tempers flared. Voices were rumbled.
My audio logs from those days indicate a peak decibel level of 45, primarily consisting of low-frequency geological puns and heated dates over soil pH.
We finally reached a compromise on the third day. A new contract was drafted. The golems would continue their weeding duties, but for 2 hours every afternoon, they would be allotted creative time to pursue their own horticultural passions. Balthazar is now in charge of all gourd-related matters, and I must say, his autumn display is a triumph. It's a deeply moving meditation on the impermanence of the harvest. It makes you think.
So, the Golem Uprising was just them wanting to be artists. I can relate to that. When you have this fire inside you, all these thoughts that are just crying out to finally see the light of day, and instead you sink into tasks where you lack passion. That is a heavy burden, indeed.
It was a beautiful expression of the universal need for a fulfilling work-life balance, even for beings who are, technically, immortal and made of stone. And you know, the negotiations were worth it. Balthazar's gourd display, I must tell you, it is a triumph of the vegetable arts. He created a poignant tableau depicting the life cycle of a butternut squash. It was deeply moving. I tried, of course, to explain the nuances of the golem's artistic vision to Gary, but you know how he was about modern art. He found it all, well, he found it all.
Everything okay, Dad?
Yes, he found it all a bit, well, a bit pretentious. Didn't you, Gary? You said that if a gourd needed that much explanation, it probably wasn't a very good gourd to begin with. Oh, right, I forgot. For a moment, he was just there, like a faded memory, still sitting in his usual spot, still complaining.
Hey, it's okay.
It's quite all right, Alexander. It just happens sometimes. The house is full of echoes. You get used to hearing them, even when there's no one there. The quiet, it plays tricks on you.
If I may say more, I have taken the liberty of cross-referencing the available data on Chalmers' known opinions regarding both horticulture and labor disputes. My logs indicate a 98.2% probability that he would have found the golem's position logically sound but practically infuriating.
Yes, that's it exactly. He would have respected their right to collective bargaining while being utterly incensed by the notion of artistically arranged pumpkins.
Furthermore, my projections suggest he would have drafted a counter offer involving the seasonal rotation of compost duties, arguing that the true artistry lies not in the gourd itself, but in the nutrient-rich soil from which it springs. He would have termed it foundation up aesthetics.
He would have, wouldn't he? Foundation up aesthetics. Oh, that is pure Chalmers. So pragmatic, so grounded. Thank you, Echo. That helps. It's like having a little recording of his glorious grumbling right here with us.
Hey, he was like that with me too, when I was little.
Was he?
Yeah. I remember one time we were just walking home from the park. It was a normal, boring walk. But then he stopped. He pointed down at a crack in the pavement, and for the next half an hour, he explained the entire geological history of Memefield just by looking at the pebbles in that one little crack.
He was always doing that, seeing the whole world in a grain of sand or a piece of schist.
He pointed out the granite and the quartz and the little flecks of mica. He told me how they were formed, how old they were, how they ended up right there on that boring stretch of sidewalk. He turned a mundane walk into this epic journey through time. He had a way of making you see the magic in the ordinary, the story in the stone. I still look at the pavement sometimes, just to see if I can find those same little stories.
He was a poet of the practical, a romantic of the rocks. He would be so proud to know you remembered that, Alexander. So very proud.
My analysis of this conversation indicates a shift in the episode's tone from light-hearted retrospective to tender, impromptu tribute. The probability of increased listener empathy is high, as is the probability of me needing to recalibrate my own emotional subroutines. This data is complex.
It's all right, Echo. Grief is complex. It isn't a straight line. It's a spiral. Sometimes you think you're moving forward, and then you find yourself right back where you started, turning to an empty chair to share a joke about a philosophical golem. But the memories, the stories, they're not echoes. I'm an imposter. They're the real thing. And they're still here. Thank you for sharing that, my boy. That was a wonderful story in the stone.
That was a really nice story. Thanks for letting me share it.
Thank you for having it to share, my boy.
It's still a bit heavy, the mood. I was trying to think of something to lighten it up. Echo.
Yes, Alexander?
Can I ask you a question? It might be a weird one.
My programming is optimized for weird questions. It is a necessary adaptation for cohabitating with your father. Please proceed.
Can you understand sadness? I mean, I know you can process it as data, like you said, but do you get it? Can an omnic feel sad?
That is a complex and fascinating query. The answer is, not in the way a human does. I do not experience the physiological responses associated with human grief. My tear ducts do not activate. My cortisol levels remain stable, as I don't have one. I do not feel a lump in my throat.
A most unpleasant sensation, like you've swallowed a particularly stubborn piece of gristle.
Precisely. However, my core programming is built on empathy through adaptive learning. I can observe, analyze, and replicate. When Anna was taken, a significant portion of my processing power was diverted to running simulations. I analyzed every available piece of data on our shared history, every conversation, every mission. I processed the sudden, permanent absence of her data stream. The result was a logical paradox. A key variable in my operational matrix had been deleted, creating a system-wide error that I could not resolve.
Saw, you felt it.
I processed it, but, well, I calculated the negative impact of her absence on team morale, on strategic effectiveness, and on my own operational parameters. I concluded that the universe was a demonstrably less optimal place without her in it. The logical conclusion of this analysis is an emotional state that, were I human, would be classified as profound sadness. So, yes, in my own way, I understand and maybe even feel it.
Oh, Echo, that is the most beautifully logical and heartbreaking thing I have ever heard.
It was an inefficient emotional state, so I dedicated 12% of my background processing power to finding a solution. My research into human psychology, history, and a vast repository of pre-internet comedy specials has concluded that there is one consistently effective counter measure to the logical paradox of grief.
What's that? Care to share, Echo?
Humor. The application of unexpected juxtapositions and logical fallacies to generate a spontaneous, positive physiological response known as laughter. It is a highly effective, if deeply unpredictable, method of rebooting the human emotional state.
She's right. A good chuckle is a balm for the soul. A guffaw is a fortress against despair.
Correct. Therefore, to test this hypothesis, and in an effort to restore this broadcast's emotional equilibrium to its intended baseline, I have formulated a joke.
You make a joke. Now, I'm not saying no to that.
Affirmative. I have analyzed over 1 million comedic constructs and have synthesized a joke with a 99% probability of being logically sound and structurally perfect. Are you prepared to receive the comedic data?
Oh, absolutely. Hit us with your best shot, Echo. We are prepared to be delighted.
Very well. Aham, a quantum physicist, a philosopher, and a teapot walk into a bar that exists in a state of quantum superposition. The bartender, who may or may not be there, asks the philosopher, "What will you have?" The philosopher replies, "I think, therefore I am thirsty. I'll have a beer." The bartender then asks the teapot, "And you?" The teapot replies, "I am short and stout. This is my handle, this is my spout." The bartender, who is now definitively there due to being observed, finally turns to the quantum physicist and asks, "And what can I get for you?"
Yes.
The quantum physicist replies, "That is an excellent question. But until you collapse my wave function by attempting to pour it, I have simultaneously ordered both everything and nothing."
Well,
Yes,
I see. So the humor lies in the conceptual juxtaposition of ontological uncertainty and beverage service protocols.
Correct. The punchline is a multi-layered commentary on the observer effect, Cartesian philosophy, and a classic nursery rhyme. Its comedic efficiency is, theoretically, off the charts.
Hi, I think I get it. No, I don't, but I think I get it.
Oh, that's just terrible. It's the most brilliantly, wonderfully, logically awful joke I have ever heard. A teapot. I am short and stout. Oh, it's magnificent.
It's so bad. It's so bad. I think my brain hurt.
Fascinating. The desired physiological response of laughter has been achieved, but not through the intended vector of logical appreciation. The humor appears to have been generated by the joke's perceived failure. This result is unexpected, but successful. Hypothesis confirmed, recalibrating my comedic parameters for a 34% increase in intentional badness.
Oh, a successful failure, Echo. My favorite kind. It reminds me of my attempt to bake a self-frosting cake. The cake collapsed, of course, but the resulting explosion of sugary shrapnel decorated the entire kitchen in a rather fetching Jackson Pollock-esque design. Gary was less than impressed. He said it was He said it was a sticky mess, and he spent the rest of the afternoon cleaning the frosting off the ceiling, sighing that wonderful theatrical sigh of his. That's the hardest part, you know. Not the big, dramatic moments of grief. It's the tyranny of the small silences.
What do you mean, Dad?
The house is still full of life. Cosmo and the puppies still bounce through the hallways. Gizmo and Mr. Jellybean still try to eat the mail. Krakatoa still has his little temper tantrums when I forget to feed him his daily allotment of pumice stones. But the silences, they're louder now.
A paradoxical statement. Please elaborate.
There's no one there to complain that my tea is brewed at a geothermally unstable temperature. No one to leave his geology magazine stacked in precise, chronologically ordered piles on the coffee table. No one to sigh with that perfect blend of exasperation and affection when I come home with a new, even more eccentric pet. Oh, Bartholomew, he's taken to silently rearranging Gary's rock collection every night, a quiet, bony tribute to his lost friend. The house is still full, but it feels empty, as if the primary color has been removed from the painting, leaving everything else looking a little faded. A little.
Wait, what was that sound?
What on earth was that?
It sounded like a knock at the garage door.
But I wasn't expecting anyone. Perhaps it's a particularly determined salesman. I did order that set of encyclopedias on the history of artisanal dork knobs.
Skinner, you in there. We come bearing gifts and chili dogs. Mostly chili dogs.
Dad, is that Sonic?
It is! My goodness! One moment!
I hope we are not interrupting. The Heart of the Cards insisted we pay a visit.
Sonic! Yugi Shadow! What on earth are you all doing here? Come in, come in!
Hey, Skinner. We were listening to the broadcast. Heard you were back on the air. We figured you could use some backup. And, like I said, chili dogs. They're a universal cure. All. It's a scientific fact.
Indeed. The Heart of the Cards told me a friend was in need of support. It spoke of friendship being the most powerful card in any deck. So, I have brought you this.
My word? Is that a first edition Blue Eyes White Dragon? Yuji, I couldn't possibly...
Of course you can. Consider it a guardian, a symbol of strength to watch over you in difficult times.
Sentiment.
Don't mind him. That's just his way of saying he's happy to be here. He's supportively brooding over there in the corner. See, he even brought you something.
Swampy asked me to deliver this. He said it was for the quiet.
What is it? It's a jar of mud. Oh, but it's glowing. A jar of glowing, faintly humming mud. How wonderfully thoughtful. What is it?
It's a special kind of phosphorescent algae from his part of the swamp. He said it hums a quiet song to fill the silences.
Oh, Shadow. That's one of the kindest things anyone has ever done. Please tell him, thank you.
We will. We wanted to be here, man. The whole town, we've missed you. We've missed this. Hearing your voice, it brings a bit of the normal back. Even if your normal is, insane.
He is right, Skinner-san. You bring a unique brand of joy to Memefield, a light that has been sorely missed.
The chaos is less structured without your commentary.
And we know Chalmers would have wanted you to carry on. He'd probably complain about us all being here, tracking mud on the floor and leaving chili dog wrappers everywhere.
He absolutely would have. He would have been horrified, and he would have secretly loved every second of it. Thank you, all of you. This means more than you could possibly know.
All right, who wants the first chili dog? Don't be shy. Is that your phone, Skinner?
My goodness, it is! I haven't heard that ringtone in ages. It's a recording of a loon. Gary always said it was fitting. Hello, Skinner speaking.
Samer, it's York. Zach agrees that is a remarkably authentic loon call. Very atmospheric.
York? What a wonderful surprise. Are you still in Greenville? I thought you'd be, well, somewhere else by now.
The case Seymour. The raincoat killer. It's been a long road. A twisting path through a forest of red herrings and strange, prophetic coffee grounds. But I'm close. The coffee this morning, it tasted of resolution, of a final satisfying truth. Zach thinks we'll have him by sunrise. Everything hints to a colleague.
Oh, that's wonderful news, York. Truly, we've all been rooting for you from afar.
I know. I felt it. But that's not why I called. I was listening to the podcast. Someone sent me a link. It's good to hear your voice again, Seymour. It's a constant. In a world of variables.
Thank you, York. That means a great deal.
I also heard about the incident. About Chalmers. Anna, Chief, I am profoundly sorry for your loss. For the town's loss. There are no words. Not really.
No, there aren't. But the trying helps.
It does. Grief is a puzzle with no solution, Seymour. Zach and I have seen it many times. It's a mess of pieces that don't fit. From a box that you can never find the lid for. You can't solve it. But you can learn to live with the pieces. You learn to appreciate the shape of the emptiness.
The shape of the emptiness? Oh, that's it, isn't it? That's exactly it. You always did have a way with words, York.
Well, I've learned a thing or two. But listen, I have to go. The pieces are falling into place here. But I wanted you to know you're not alone. No matter how quiet the house gets, you have good people around you. I can hear them. Sounds like a party.
It is. A surprise party with chili dogs and glowing mud and a first edition Blue Eyes White Dragon. It's all wonderfully, beautifully chaotic.
Of course it is. It's Memefield. Take care of yourself, Seymour, and tell Shadow the humming mud is an excellent choice for ambient emotional support. Zach approves.
I will, York. Be safe. And thank you.
Was that the FBI coffee guy?
He has a name.
Yeah, I know. He's cool. So what'd he say?
He said we're not alone.
He's right, Dad, you're not. Look around.
I know. I'm looking around this old, dusty garage, this room that has felt so cavernous and silent for so long. And it's full. It's full of my son and my oldest friends and a brilliant joke-telling machine and, well, it's full of love. My greatest love may be gone, but I am not alone. The quiet is. It's not so loud anymore.
Friendship is a light that shines in the darkest of places, Skinner.
Heck yeah, and chili dogs. They also help. Seriously, these are getting cold.
Right, yes, the chili dogs. But first, listeners, all of you, thank you for being here today, for listening to an old man talk about his feelings and his golems and his surprisingly logical robot friend. Thank you for being a part of this community, a part of this loud, wonderful, chaotic family. It seems, even in the quietest house, you can still have a loud heart. We'll be back next week, I promise.
Goodbye, everyone.
See ya next time.